What's the Earlverse is in the house. Hope you guys had a happy Thursday. And I just thought that I would do a quickie. As you see, I've got Robocop and Gene Simmons looking over my shoulder, along with Scorpio Sky, Sting, and Brody Lee. Woo! And Roddy Piper right there, and the Stinger. So I thought I would do a quick stream. What up, Ryan and T Gun? For those of you joining us, you know that the Earlverse has no theme, but the world of the internet has been ablaze with the Dabbleverse CP allegations. So I thought this is an alternative to those who don't want to talk about that stuff. Yes, we can do a pro wrestling stream. We can talk about Sid. Look, it's Sid and Robocop. Robocop, I'm 6'9", 320 pounds. I am the real man of steel in the NWA, and you better learn to like it. Sid Justice, Psycho Sid. And it's coming out now that he actually died of, well, he had a pacemaker, so I'm sure that didn't help. Um, and brain cancer, which, you know, that's what my mom died of. And obviously, my mom wasn't in Sid Vicious physical category, but it ain't pretty. You know, brain cancer's tough when it takes someone who's 6'9", 320 pounds, jacked, still at his age, jacked. So, you know, rest in peace and thoughts to his family. And he's got kids, I think. Frank, he has two sons. Frank was on the episode of Big Brother, if you watch that show. I mean, I watched Brennan today. You know, breaking news right in the middle. I guess Aaron got arrested or something. Uh, yeah, but you know what? If you watch, I was telling someone today, you know, Sid gets a lot of shit for his promos or lack of. Ooh, I kind of like this background, the red, bright red. Oh, now it went to. I've got the screensaver on my television. Um, but Sid's the only one who kept it together in the Shockmaster promo. I mean, if you go back and look at that, and I don't know how to do that. I wish I could pull it up. There's got to be a button on here somehow. Share screen. Maybe that would be it. I'm afraid to hit it. Um, and we could pull up the Shockmaster promo. But when the tugboat fell through the wall, he's stumbling around trying to get his helmet on. Sting and Davey Boy Smith are like, "Uh-oh." Booker T's laughing. Stevie Ray is like, and Ric Flair just walks off with the girl and Colonel Parker. And Sid was the only one who kept it together. And, you know, I don't mind his unhinged promos. You know, like when he would botch a few of the words or whatever, with the Kevin Nash promo where he said, "I don't have half the brain you have." It added to his character. Uh, and when you start to find out what a great guy Sid was off camera, like, he invited that one, I think it was a WCW Nitro, he was wrestling Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and he had a kid with Down syndrome be his manager that night and made that kid's fucking life. And the kid walked out with him, even cut a little promo backstage. So, just kind of a bummer. But what's also a bummer is there's 15 people in here and only 2 likes. See how I did that? William Zoom. Well, now he can power bomb Brian Pillman again. Uh, yeah, I mean, Sid was not known to be gentle in the ring. I mean, you look at some of those power bombs, yowza. I mean, he power bombed Pillman the second time, knowing that Pillman was unconscious. Uh, Now, I haven't heard Arn Anderson speak about Sid. They had the stabbing incident. What up, Ross? And you know, I think they kind of buried the hatchet, but you know, you never know. Thoughts on the Kamala interview tonight? We can talk politics. I did not see. I mean, I'm sure I've seen the Sting Van Vader match, but it's been a minute since I've watched uh, the um, the full match. Oh, did he seem remorseful that Sid died? I mean, I think they kind of patched it up as best they could. I mean, I'm sure they both realized that Arn was drunk. I'm going to assume Sid had roid rage and maybe had a few drinks that night, and which is absolutely frightening. That I think they said Vader tried to break it up and he couldn't, and like he seems like the type of guy that would, you know, be able to keep the peace. Kamala, what did I think of the interview? She reminds me a lot of Obama. Like she says all the right things, but she doesn't really get down to the facts. I mean, I guess you could say that about all politicians, but I think. Can you send me that link, Ryan Nordahl? What? Maybe on Instagram? Can you send me a link to? I'd like to hear Arn Anderson talk about Sid. Um, and I still don't know why Sid and Arn. That was an era of wrestlers. Yeah, I listened to that. But I didn't know if Arn had spoken directly about, uh, the passing of Sid. I don't know if Vader was well liked. I mean, he was very stiff, and in general, um well, I mean, AC/DC, she says, like, all the right things from the standpoint of, "I'm gonna keep the middle class, they're not gonna get that tax increase," and stuff like that. I mean, I don't agree with either, candidate. Um, well, I mean, that was an era of the '80s, you know, pro wrestling where everyone's on coke, everyone's drinking, everyone's on roids. So, the Quadfathers built in wheelchair poop pan. Uh, that is maybe the most, creative, name, um, I've ever seen on a stream. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Um Junior Coltrane, you're not listening, you fucking idiot. She says the right things. Like, who is going to disagree with her when she says, I'm not going to tax the middle class? Sorry, I came in hot there, Junior. I just took an energy drink. But, she says all the things a politician says to get elected, but she doesn't give details. It's like, it's like if you said to me, Junior Coltrane, Trust me, bro. I don't care what you think of my credibility. If you don't like what I'm saying, go to the Dabbleverse streams. There's about 50 of them. You think I care if I have 23 or 22 people in here? Like, I don't give a fuck. But please don't leave. Um, I do have a custom chair made by GT Player. Um, I don't know what happened to Quadfather, to be honest with you. And I got love for Quadfather because he was one of the few people that um, tried to help me get monetized. I know William Zoom did. I know the Quadfather did, and my friend Tracy Carnazzo. So I got love. Um, I think he already did. What do you think about Trump gives ideas, details, but you won't? I already voted for him, you fucking idiot. So, like, why don't get your trolling glasses off? And, Trump does the same shit. He don't give no details. Uh, Quad got drunk and jumped into shallow water. He jumped out. He jumped from a wheelchair. That's impressive. Sup, sour milk. I mean, they're both full of shit, Junior, if you really want my honest opinion. Tracy did push it over the goal line. I mean, she's the one who basically, can we get some more likes in here? I don't ask you guys for much. Junior Coltrane, can you give me a like? We can argue, but would you interview RFK Jr.? I've tried. I'm not big enough. That could break me though. I mean, he's at Gold's Gym every day. Like, maybe I should just bring a mic and ambush him on the bench press. We probably bench about the same. But listen, I voted for Trump in the last election. And I'm gonna watch the debate. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna give you 2, like, okay, then we can disagree on see, we can disagree on politics or whatever. Uh, I don't know. I mean, as a man, I'll be 56 September 17th. I think RFK Jr. is what, 64 or something. He's pretty fucking jacked. I would be blown away um, if he wasn't on something. I really wish I could keep that red background. Uh, could I get your favorite ding dong show story? Yeah, Bert Perkins. We can. RFK Jr. 70. He looks great for 70. I've been offered TRT, but the guy told me it shrinks your balls, so I'm good on that. My Thai girlfriend puts my unit to shame. Hello. He definitely on something. I mean, listen, I am natural. I can't work out any more than I do. Um, and even I have a bit of a belly, and I eat clean. I drink water. Like I literally exercise more than any man on this fucking planet, and I still have a belly. So the debate December 10th. Yes, I agree with you, ACDC. I mean, because here's the thing. Here's my analysis of the debate. Yeah, I'm not shrinking my balls. My dick works good enough. Does it work like it used to? Probably not, but, I still have a line of girls calling me to get the Skakel salami, so don't worry about it. Um, what were we saying? Yeah, the debate is, that's, they say usually debates don't um, decide elections. I think this one will. It's very close. And, Kamala's got some targets on her. She's incredibly left leaning. Um, the way California was run when she was here was not good. And Trump has some targets, so I think that muted mics is better for Trump because then he doesn't go off and act like Ric Flair at the Starcade '89. Bert Perkins, let me answer your question. My favorite Ding Dong Show story was one night in the original room. What up, Cold C? Um, I am eating those upscale lean cuisines. Thank you very much. Um, is one night, Don's closing out the show in the original room. The Ding Dong Show had finished, so they all come down on stage with Don, and kind of fuck around, bringing up comics and sitting in the crowd. And Rabbi Fuzzy, who was that old, really, really old dude who was in the Ding Dong Show for a minute, um, he was up there, and all of a sudden there was this god awful smell in the room, like awful, like it's like you were driving and passing through Modesto, and he had shit his pants, and he didn't leave the room. He still stayed in the room, and man, it was brutal. I mean, it was awful. It's an image. And also, one time when I went to film an episode of the access show with Don and the Ding Dongers, this was when the legendary Boom Shakalaka was alive. Boone was dressed in drag. He looked horrible. I mean, imagine Edward James Olmos with bad makeup, and that's Boone in drag. And we go to this strip club that's right across from where Don filmed this public access show, and we try to get Boone an audition to be a stripper. And we spoke to the manager, and the guy was talking to me and Don, and then Boone comes up behind us and goes, "Okay, I'm ready." And the manager was like, "Can I ask you a question?" And Boone's like, "What?" And the strip club manager was like, "Are you a man?" And Boone's like, "Are you?" Those are my two favorite stories. I think Trump is better with the muted mics because it kind of keeps him on point, and he doesn't really get in. Yeah, tell me about it, William Zoom. I mean, yowza. Uh, so muted. The latest news on the special is we're going to film. I'm doing comedy before XPW Wrestling on September 7th. So we're going to film that as part of the documentary. I also have a show a week after that with Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth. And so we're going to tape that for the documentary. And then hopefully in October, we're going to actually film the special. And then, we're going to shop it to film festivals and whatnot. We're going to there's not many comedy specials that get shopped at film festivals, but we think with the documentary and the special, the culmination being, hey, this guy finally got his fucking special. Now what? That film festivals would kind of dig that. Um, how come you haven't gotten? It's not that hot anymore. So, a new air conditioner is like 10 grand, and it's a real pain in the ass. Didn't Dolph Ziggler's brother kill someone? No, that's you're. Yeah, I don't know about that. Hold on, I'm getting a text from someone. Never mind. You guys don't need to know about that text. Um, no, he did not kill anyone. Yeah, I mean, I know there's window air conditioning units I could get for a couple $100, but obviously I have my air conditioning unit. Those giant things on the roof, and I think it's original to the building, so I can't wait to get out of this building. But I'm going to film the special first. I don't want any distractions. Brody Stevens got pushed out of the comedy scene by Democrats, so he off himself. That's what Democrats do. I don't know about that, Junior Coltrane. Now you better go over to the Alex Jones channel with that kind of talk. Um, uh, he did not get pushed out of the comedy scene by Democrats. He stopped his medication because he thought he was well, and then he was not. So, that's that. I would say, people think because I'm related to the Kennedys that I'm a Democrat. I would say I grew up probably from the '80s on to be a Republican, and now I'm kind of in the middle. Brody got stabbed in the showers. What are you, Bruiser Brody? Oh yeah, yeah, you're talking about Bruiser Brody. Rest in peace, Bruiser Brody. Um, Man, I could watch that first promo Sid did when he joined the Horsemen all day. You got a coked up Flair. You got a completely blasted out of his mind Barry Windham. Arn and Ole Anderson, they don't know what's going on. And Nancy Benoit. She looked like she was probably on the marijuana. Your voice is a lot different than RFK's. That's because I eat pussy. Hello. Earl needs a fine Thai lady. I'm good on that, Mr. Butler. I'm good on that. The Puerto Rico wrestling scene is rough. I mean, it's basically, it's outlaw down there. And, Piper told me he got stabbed down there. And, it was like, a lot of outlaw characters. Brody complained about that constantly in Steps with Brody, his walking chat. He felt totally backstabbed by Tony in the Comedy Store. You can't still watch the stream, bro. Well, let me tell you something. I mean, dude, I was there, so I know what happened, Junior. No offense, but like I know a lot more about this subject than you. Um, I can't speak to Brody getting backstabbed by Tony. That's between them. But the Comedy Store gave Brody more spots than any comic of the last 30 years. So, they let him film a special there for free, which they don't do. Trust me on that one. And they gave him 3 to 4 spots a week, which most comics get. I mean, working comics get 2 spots a week. Uh, so he got double what pretty much everyone else did. So I can assure you that the Comedy Store did not backstab him. They gave him uh, a forum that most comics can't even dream of. Now with him and Tony, I never really followed that storyline. So, uh, but dude, that's Junior. That's all Brody got was main room spots. I mean, that's what the spot I get now. Like Saturday night, I'm closing out the main room. It's literally called the Brody spot. So you got bad info there, brother. Earl, what is your Bumble age range? I got off of Bumble a couple months ago. There's a lot of talking on Bumble, but no one wants to actually hang out. So my dating app now is the Comedy Store. You see me go up, you either like what you see or you don't. Um, I would say 18 to 18. Hello. No, I mean I'm open to I think it was 18 to 45. Watch 52 Pickup. John Glover was great, and so was the pimp character. She's got goodies. And yeah, Leo. I actually saw that guy. Robert Trebor is his actor's name. Is the actor's name, and he walked into my gym one day, and I was working behind the counter, and he gives me his business card. I'm like, "She's got goodies," and he looks at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "52 Pickup. You don't want Doreen, Ginger. Come here. She's got goodies." Mm. Let me see. What's a good movie along the lines of 52 Pickup that most people A Big Wednesday, of course, the epic surf movie. I'm not a surfer, and I fucking loved Big Wednesday. North Shore's another great movie that's a surf movie. Uh, well, no, Junior, like I said, I can't tell you about the stuff between Brody and Tony because I didn't pay attention. So, but I can assure you, in terms of the Comedy Store, Brody was taken care of better than 99.99999% of the comics who play there. That's all he got was main room spots, uh, and 3 to 4 a week. Like that's how the pay structure works is like Saturday night, it'll be sold out, 400 people or whatever it is. Now you got to figure 100 people get in for free because of the guest list and whatnot. So 300 paying customers, and I split the door with the other comics. So the Comedy Store put a lot of money in Brody's pocket. Uh, so John Glover never played a bad role. I mean, he was good even in Mannequin, or not Mannequin, Masquerade. Even in Gremlins 2, he was funny. Uh, I know. I could have. I could have. Uh, oh, depression's a bitch. Let me tell you that much. So I would recommend Big Wednesday or North Shore. North Dallas 40 is a great. It's probably my favorite sports movie of all time. Now people think because I like hockey that it would be Slapshot, but check out North Dallas 40. If you want a more another John Glover movie, The Chocolate War, great. I think it came out 2 years after 52 Pickup, so 1988. Great movie, great cast. Inappropriate Earl alumni, Jenny Wright is in it. Another Jenny Wright movie, if you want a fun, silly movie, is The Wildlife. Well, Slapshot was so good because it really was a true that's how, hockey was in the '70s. Well, I think North Dallas 40 is the best football movie of all time because it's also the most realistic, football movie of all time because it was written by, ex-Dallas Cowboy Peter Gint or Gent, I'm not sure how you say that, name, and, it's basically an expose of the Dallas Cowboys. If you next time y'all watch, North Dallas 40, GD Spradlin, the coach, is playing Tom Landry. Uh, Mac Davis is playing essentially Don Meredith. And the backup religious quarterback, Hartman, I've tried to get him on my podcast, but he never returns my inquiries. He's playing Roger Staubach, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. And then I'm not exactly sure who John Matuszak and Bo Svensson are playing, but they're playing guys who play defense. Um, so, and Tommy Riemann, who played Delmer Huddle, the running back who was like Mr. Clean and wouldn't take anything until the big finale of the he actually played in the NFL and he was blacklisted. I speak to his kid every now and then on Instagram. I say, "Hey, I'd like to get your dad on the show." I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about a movie he did literally 50 years ago. And some great other people were in North Dallas 40. Steve Forrest, who I knew from the TV show SWAT, and of course, the recently deceased Dabney Coleman. Uh, who is your favorite athlete turned actor? I got to be honest with you. I think John Matuszak. Uh, he was awesome in North Dallas 40. And apparently in the movie, Bo Svensson was supposed to have a bigger part, but John Matuszak was such a good actor that he took a lot of scenes away from Bo Svensson. Yeah, Tex Cobb's a good actor. Yeah, another movie, Bert, if you want to check out a good war movie, is Uncommon Valor with Tex Cobb, Gene Hackman, Robert Stack, Fred Ward, Reb Brown from Big Wednesday, Harold Sylvester. Uh, that's a very, very underrated um, war movie. Yeah, Bo Svensson was in the original Inglorious Bastards. Um, which one haven't you seen, Bert? Gene Hackman's still alive, not looking very good, but he is. I mean, he was born in 1930, so he's 94. That'd make him. So, yeah, Uncommon Valor. Patrick Swayze's first movie. It's a very, very good movie. And it's not a happy ending at the end. Typically, what up, Dave? A movie would have had Gene Hackman goes to Vietnam, finds his son, rescues him, and I don't want to ruin the movie for you, Bert, but it's not the typical feel-good happy ending. Who will pass first, Duvall, Eastwood, or Hackman? I mean, I got to be honest with you. Between those three, I would guess Hackman. Um, then Eastwood, then Duvall. Shaq was good in Kazam. I mean, Shaq was good in Blue Chips. Yeah, I love that scene. When I don't want to ruin the movie for Bert, but when Tex Cobb does what he does, and that happened a lot. Guys could. I mean, like I said, we'll talk about it after Bert sees it. But when Tex does what he does, that happened in real life when people sacrifice themselves for their friends. I mean, I had the guy who took me to school The first guy to take me to grade school, drive me to school, he was like, work for my family. He was a Vietnam vet, and looking back, he was pretty fucked up. So, yeah, I think Blue Chips, is a kind of an underrated movie. I think the cast was so big, for whatever reason, it doesn't really get talked about, but, of course, the great, is that character actor that played the shady, booster? JT Walsh. Um, oh, then you would like, thank you for your service, Bert. You would like Uncommon Valor. It's a I mean, you could tell that, like, the Vietnam scenes were probably shot in, Santa Barbara, uh, but, I mean, the acting's so good in it. Yeah, JT Walsh is a guy you don't really hear about. I think his last movie might have been, The Negotiator. Always a bad guy and a great, um like, I don't think I've ever seen a bad JT Walsh film. Kinda like GD Spradlin, who started acting at 50. That's crazy. Like, I would have loved to have seen a young GD Spradlin acting, in his 30s and 40s. Um, but, um, yeah, I mean, Bert, if you were a medic in the Army, you absolutely would love Uncommon Valor. I mean, am I saying it's Apocalypse Now or Platoon? No, I mean, it's a different take on, uh, basically the plot of the movie is, um, Gene Hackman, getting his old Vietnam unit, uh, to go back and find his son. And, they recruit Patrick Swayze to be like the guy who knows the modern military techniques. And there are some great, great scenes in the movie. I believe he did. But I was just saying, GD Spradlin, I mean, oh, also, Fana, you got to pay for those. I'm not a monkey bouncing a ball on my nose. Um, uh, Bird, if you want a, that one's on the house. That one's on the house. If you want a good movie, North Dallas 40 is a great movie. But if you want to see the coach in another movie where he's the coach about, I think it was a year before North Dallas 40, G.D. Spradlin, Annette O'Toole, and uh, Robbie Benson. A great college basketball movie called One on One, where G.D. Spradlin plays like a sadistic basketball coach. It's an awesome movie. Might have trouble finding it, but very good movie. Why did Danish and O'Neill break up? I don't know, Fana. I don't know. I really don't. I keep out of, I got enough drama in my life. I thought Seals balanced the balls. No, I don't know William Zoom on that one. I've reached out to Annette O'Toole a few times to talk about one on one, but she doesn't exactly get back to me. That's why I give love to Daryl Fetty. I literally spoke with Daryl Fetty from Big Wednesday for 10 years. Hey man, can you do my podcast? And he's busy and doing all that shit. So um, and he finally did it. And although there was a slight delay on some of the questions and answers, because I think he's in Malibu and I'm deep into West Hollywood. Overall, it was a pretty good interview. Is it true Boone is dead? I believe he's dead. No one's seen him for literally 3 years, and I never went 2 days without seeing Boone. So there's no way he would not have um, shown up to the Comedy Store by now. Last time I saw Boone was right after the George Floyd stuff, and I was walking Lois, and it was hot on the streets. I mean, it was like it was about to pop off in my neighborhood, and I live literally right by the sheriff's station. And Boone sees me, and he starts yelling at the top of his lungs, "Who killed that little black boy, George Floyd? Who killed that black boy, George Floyd?" I'm like, Boone. I had to act like I didn't know him. My favorite. Who would you interview from Cobra Kai? I'd love to interview Thomas Ian Griffith. My favorite war movie is what's your favorite Tom Cruise movie? I mean, Losing It. That's his first movie. Uh, Or I believe his first movie might have been Endless Love, where he had, like, a very small scene as a football player or something. But, it's just like I would love to interview Ralph Macchio, and not talk to him about Cobra Kai or Karate Kid because that's just played out. I'd wanna talk to him about, Up the Academy. You want a stupid movie, Bert, if you're, like, if you're having a rough day and you just need a stupid movie, Up the Academy is my recommendation for you. It's just a teenage romp movie, uh, starring, Ralph Macchio, Ron Liebman, who was so embarrassed by the movie, he asked for his name to be taken out of the credits. Um, it's like I asked for my name to be taken out of the roast battle book, and they wouldn't do it. Who else? Antonio Fargas. It wasn't like a big celebrity cast. Tom Poston for you old schoolers. And the Arab kid in Up the Academy was so fucking funny, man. And I don't know how this guy didn't have a career as like the funny part, and like the funny sidekick in any. He was so funny. And, he's kinda like the kid with the bowl cut from My Bodyguard. That kid had great comedy timing, and I believe, Up the Academy was the Arab kid's only movie, and same thing with the kid with the bowl cut from My Bodyguard. You should ask C. Thomas Howell to come on and ask him about Soul, man. Yeah, that movie doesn't really hold up. Fana, you know what time it is. Um, The Outsiders doesn't hold up anymore. Well, a lot of those movies about the 50s and 60s, they don't really hold up given some of the content. But Up the Academy is so funny to me. And a prime Barbara Bach, Ringo Starr's wife. Like Up the Academy was in 1980, so like wow. Yeah, Soul Man was, like I mean, it's a pretty funny movie, but, I don't know. You couldn't do a movie like that today. Uh, who never made another movie, William Zoom? The kid from, the Arab kid or the kid from My Bodyguard? Hall and Nash were the best. What about Making the Grade? Judd Nelson, Jonah Lee, great, guilty pleasure movie. And the guy who you talk about someone who was pretty funny, the guy who played, Palmer Woodrow, in Making the Grade was pretty funny. Dana Olson, and, if Making the Grade was a hit, it was supposed to be a sequel, um, but, the kid with the bowl cut, I think he's a realtor in Chicago. I tracked him down, but, he never returned my messages. I get it, he probably was like, "Dude, that's 40 years ago. 44 years ago, My Bodyguard came out. I don't wanna talk about that fucking movie." Uh, so, I mean, I would love to get the Arab kid from Up the Academy, Tom Cetera, I think was his name. Um, the Crow, I mean, yeah, that'll be horrible. I don't even need to know who's in it. It just won't be good. Earl, does The Warrior still hold up? Or Sean Penn and Bad Boys? Both great movies. Warriors is, I'm really glad. I know there was talk, I think at one point, I believe Howard Stern was gonna remake Warriors and Porky's. Uh, it's I just part of what makes The Warriors such a great movie is that it had no budget. All the scenes were at night. The extras were actual gang members. So there was an era of authenticity. And, Bad Boys is, a great cast, Sean Penn, Esai Morales, the guy who played, Viking, I'm drawing a blank on his name, a very established character actor, the bad guy in the last season of Dexter. Have you ever seen Summer Job from '89? I'm sure I have. I don't know, I mean, I've never seen Beetlejuice, so I can't I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think, there were The Idolmaker's a great movie too, if you, Bert, if you want another recommendation and movie that should have done better, but it just didn't. The Buddy Holly story I just watched, it had been a minute. That's a great fucking movie, man. I don't know what movie won Best Actor in '78, which ironically was the same year Big Wednesday came out. So a great year for that's probably Busey's best year in terms of acting. And then by then he probably started getting money and drugs and whatnot. And the party house in Big Wednesday, interestingly enough, was 2 houses down on the Warner Brothers lot from, Danny Glover's house in Lethal Weapon. What's the last movie I've seen in theaters? Alien. They brought back Alien to be in big screens, and the girl I was dating wanted to go. And when a girl with 34H tits asks you to go to the movies, you go to the movies. Uh, I mean, did you like it, William? I've never seen it. Earl, what's your favorite horror movie? I will tell you the scariest movie I've ever I really like this red background. I'm gonna have to look into that. I will tell you the scariest movie I've ever seen in a movie theater is the original My Bodyguard. No, not My Bodyguard, My Bloody Valentine, I wanna say it was 1980. I can remember going with my 2 sisters and 2 brothers. We rarely went places, the 5 of us together. No, not the re-release with David Boreanaz, as. Because once again, the original My Bloody Valentine, it had no money, so the actors I don't think one actor really ever worked after that movie, except for the guy with the curly hair who was one of the sheriffs in Rambo. He was the guy who got the broken nose, so the whole rest of the movie, he's got the white tape. He was the only other guy, he was the only guy after My Bodyguard who worked that I know of. And I would say yes, it is a Canadian movie. I would say the scariest movie trailer I ever saw was the original trailers for, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. People forget, the last couple, Nightmare on Elm Streets were kinda humor induced, Freddy Krueger, it almost became a parody, and it's almost like '80s movies where he'd have a stick around, and then he'd stab someone, but the first one was very scary. Second one is probably one of the weirdest horror movies because there was a lot of gay innuendos. Um, I don't know if it was on purpose or First Blood is my favorite Rambo. Yeah, I mean the first Blood, the first Rambo movie is a classic. The second one wasn't horrible, and then they all, um, I don't know, they just went downhill with each one. I mean, the last Rambo I saw was so fucking ridiculous, where Stallone essentially takes out the whole Colombian army by himself. Like, I like a little believability. Like, you watch the first Rambo movie, it's a little unbelievable, but you could see that happening. But the last Rambo was crazy. And Shocker is one of my guilty pleasure guilty pleasure horror movie. My favorite stag film. Get out of town. Uh, Let me see. I mean, well, because Shocker was I like the backstory behind it, where Wes Craven got fucked over, and I don't think to this day he gets any money or very little money from the whole Nightmare on Elm Street series. So he was just like, "Fuck you guys, I'll just create another film franchise." And so the plan was for Shocker to basically be Wes Craven's new Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and I'll never forget, Shocker got the big billboard in Westwood. Now, I realize that probably most of you have never been to Westwood, but, back in the day, Westwood was movie central for Los Angeles. Like, if you wanted to go see a movie, you didn't go to the Century City Mall, you didn't go to the Beverly Center, you didn't go to West Side Pavilion, you didn't go to 3rd Street Promenade. You went to Westwood because tons of restaurants, great date place. Um, and Shocker got the big billboard in the middle of Westwood. So that was a sign that, at least in theory, that um, Shocker was expected to do big business. And I don't know if I'd say it was a bomb, but it did not do well. And it's too bad because, once again, great cast. Pete Berg, Mitch Pileggi or Pileggi. I'm not sure how you say it. Uh, and Rambo or Rocky. I can go Rocky. Younger. I took down a few girls in Westwood. And no, I did not do the popcorn trick with the girl with 34 H's. Trust me, I didn't need to. Boing. I mean, Shocker, I think saw YouTube, not a documentary, but a little short on Shocker. And I guess the guy who was in charge of special effects, like, lost his mind. He had a divorce or something. And he literally took all the uh, first takes of the stunts and special effects. So they had to really piecemeal it together. Uh, and you definitely, if you watch the end of Shocker, some of the last few visual uh, stunts and scenes looked like a third grader did them, but they were on the clock. Shocker, that's what Earl does to the LA broads. Boing, animal mother, you love pimping my sexual prowess. Yeah, great soundtrack. Uh, Desmond Child and Paul Stanley singing the title track "Shocker." Tommy Lee on drums, Michael Anthony on bass, Vivian Campbell, I believe, on the electronic guitar. Uh, Kane Roberts, great Alice Cooper guitar player. He was involved. We will have the power. We will have the glory in our shining hour. We will write our own story. We will have the power. I mean, me singing about a song from a '89 horror movie is sure as hell beats talking about child pornography. CP. Let's call it CP. I don't want my channel struck. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun movies made in the '80s, but it's too bad Shocker didn't, because I do like the plot of Shocker, that the bad guy gets energy from electricity. Uh, Aspen Extreme was that movie is so bad it's good. Um, Dexter Watecki was his name in Aspen Extreme, and starring the great, I forget his sidekick in that movie. Wasn't a great cast outside of Viola Hughes. Is it Fiona? No, Viola Hughes. And the funny thing is, my friend, I had a comedy friend who did a makeover show where Viola Hughes was the host, and they needed like audience members and people in the crowd when they did the reveal of the makeover show for my friend who was a female comic. And so I went, and Viola was in between takes. So she was actually really nice. She's talking to everyone. She came up to me and said, "Hey, thanks for doing this. I know you're not probably having the most fun." Oh, it's Finola? Okay, I thought it was Viola. Finola Hughes. Um, and I'm like, "Hey, listen, I just wanted to say I met the hot girl from Aspen Extreme." And she said something to the effect of, "Yeah, you're about the only one from that movie." She had a good sense of humor. Hot Dog, the movie. I do believe Paul Land from The Idolmaker, I think it was his only other movie, did a ski movie or some kind of teenage romp movie. I thought that guy was going to be a star. We talk about Michael Pare and some of the other people I thought would be stars, but Paul Land was a really good actor, great looking guy, really fit that '80s kind of smoldering, the black coiffed hair, good looking. He kind of played a good dick. And I think he quit Hollywood and just got into a construction business. Um, But Vanilla Hills was very nice, and I'll always remember that. So, but that movie was pretty bad. But if I ever I believe A Woman from My Past with the initials CB, she had, done a film with Peter Berg and said he was a nice guy. That was when he was dating Whitney Cummings, that is. And I heard Whitney would, call him from the stage during her act, and he was like, I don't know about that. You love Thai chicks. Just make sure, Paul Gross, TJ Berg. Man, I haven't heard that name in a minute. Let's, we got about 10 more minutes, guys. When we're breaking down Aspen Extreme. Um, it's probably time to end the stream. But we do our streams, so we don't do streaming gangbangs. Aspen Extreme. Let's see. Paul Gross, 1993 movie. William Russ was in that. I like William Russ. He's always pops up, and he was in Wanted Dead or Alive. Let's see what Paul Gross. Uh, he's a good-looking guy. Army brat. Last thing he did was 19. He was in the TV show Due South. 67 episodes. The last thing he did. Oh, he was in The Last Man. Um, 2021. So let's see what he did um, right after Aspen Extreme. You do a bad movie, uh, back then, and you didn't get many second chances. Okay, Aspen Extreme. After that, he was in Tales of the City. I don't recognize too many of these shows. Due South. I mean, yeah, he did not. I mean, he worked. Uh, but the last known thing Paul Gross was in was The Last Man, 2 episodes, 2021. 2021 was a big year for him. He was also in something called The Middleman. Let's see. Yeah, William Russ. Let's get to William Russ's resume. I mean, William Russ was always in something. I mean, he is the definition of a working actor. Let me see. William Russ. I mean, he was in Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer. Um, Miami Vice. I believe he was in Crime Story as well. I mean, 141 projects he's been in. He was in Animal Kingdom. I do remember him in Animal Kingdom 2022. Last thing he was in was Founders Day 2023. So, um, literally, he's in The Right Stuff. He's also in the TV show Wise Guy. Um, I mean, he was, is the definition of a working actor. Um, a guy that we've probably all been next to on an airplane or whatever, and don't even recognize him. Although I did when he was in Animal Kingdom. I think he had white hair. You could definitely facially tell. Oh, that's William Ross. The William Russ Miami Vice episode is the one they will not air or stream. Why not? I don't recall it being that controversial. Uh, yeah, I mean, when I don't recognize a TV show, it's oh great. I wish you would have told me. Let me see. You want to give me your real name and shit on Instagram, ACDC? I'll see if I can get you backstage to meet him. He's a great guy. Yeah, I mean, William Russ is kind of like the poor man's Emmett Walsh. I mean, he's in a couple projects a year, and Oh, really? I don't recall Miami Vice having, really, any anti-gay episodes, but, I mean, I don't it's been a minute since what season was that? I loved William Russ in, Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer. I mean, that was you could tell they were setting up, Bert Perkins, 4.99, his 5th super chat. Here, here. I'm gonna hit the like button for Bert Perkins. Thanks for the recommendations. Have a coffee on me. That's about what a coffee costs these days. Now I realize that I gave you a lot of recommendations, but uh, choose at your leisure. Um, I believe Eleanor is opening for Dice on that show, and possibly my friend Christy Miller, who is a very funny comedy store comic who lives in New York now. But if you like Dice, you'll love Christy. She's absolutely filthy, and who doesn't like a good filthy female comic? Um, so enjoy the movie recommendations. I don't even know where you uh, try to see Making the Grade or The Idol Maker or Up the Academy. I mean, maybe I don't. I mean, maybe YouTube. YouTube has a lot of deep cut uh, movies that like Shocker, Streets of Fire. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I might do my own football shit. Um, I know I did a few with my buddies a couple seasons ago, but it was really a test run for those guys to do their own football show. Making the Grade was on Tubi. I'm gonna have to subscribe to Tubi. Right now, I only am on Netflix because I wanted to. I re-subscribed to Netflix so I could watch Cobra Kai. But I will watch the Vince McMahon documentary that's coming out in a few weeks on Netflix. That's interesting to me because my friend, the Danish, you guys know the Danish. Oh, Tubi is free. I didn't know. Um, had a good point that WWE is gonna Monday Night Raw and all that stuff is gonna be on Netflix starting soon. So kind of surprising that you got to assume that this documentary is not going to paint Vince McMahon in a good light. But it's going to be interesting. Maybe that's in part why Shane McMahon is rumored to be going to AEW. A lot of people think it's a work. I'll guess that Shane McMahon doesn't get along with Triple H, and he's like, "Hey, you're just running the company because you're fucking my sister. Fuck you. I'll go to AEW." Earl, who wins Steelers Falcons? I mean, the Steelers did not look good in preseason offensively. They looked horrible, to be frank. And now that Ayuk has re-signed with the 49ers, there goes that situation, which I don't know if that would have worked because I think George Pickens seems like the type that would act out if he is not the man. But now he's going to get triple teamed. That was the big selling point of adding Ayuk is who are you going to cover? I go to about 5 games a year. I like watching hockey on television better. Um, oh, that's great, AC/DC. Dice is great. Hello, William. But I very much prefer watching hockey on television. I can be at my house. I can be petting Lois. Uh, I although I do regret I was offered to go to um, the first the 2012 Stanley Cup final game where the Kings won the cup for $2,500, and I just did a cameo. Cameo was after me for a long time to do it. I'm like, I don't want to charge fans to talk to me, like directly. Like you guys super chat me now, but like it's more like like you said, William, it's a tip. Like, hey, thanks for doing an hour stream. Here's whatever, 4.99 from the great Bert Perkins. What up, Grimace and Pain? I'm literally about to end the stream in a minute. Um, so I finally So, okay, I'll do Cameo, but it's gonna be $109. Hello. But I mean, I could have gone to that game, and I do, obviously, Sean Avery kills it on Cameo, but I don't get too many requests for it. But I don't really market it either, because like the last Cameo I did last week was kind of tough because they didn't give me a lot of information, so I just kind of freestyled it. But for 75 bucks, you know, it's $109. I guess I get the 75 is what I take home, I guess. I want to do a good job. And I kind of asked the person, well, what else can you tell me about him? And they never really got back to me. So I just kind of winged it. But, uh, they liked it. So that's it. Yeah. I mean, Dice, uh, I could see Dice being very good on Cameo. Sean Avery's great on Cameo. Uh, Word up, word up. Grimace and Pain, you don't have to turn on the light. I'm not sure what that means, Grimace and Pain. But Sunday night stream, be there. I got a spot at the Comedy Store Saturday night, 12:15, in the Brody spot, closing out the main room. Sunday night in the original room, 11 p.m. Sunday night. So maybe I'll do the Eddie Nash stream this Sunday. Uh, um, and that is it. I love you all. Earl Skakel in the Earlverse. I will see you later.